Hi there folks, I hope all of you had a good and relaxing weekend. For today's recording, I'll be walking you through Friday's session in NQ. Now typically, I cover ES every week. However, this time, based on a lot of requests from members over at Discord, as well as a few who requested on Twitter as well, I decided to cover NQ for this week. So, for guys who have been following me for a very long time, that is past couple of months, would know that I typically look for clues that the markets leave behind, form a story, wait for MGI to confirm or to synchronize with the clues identified, and then engage at those levels. So again, I'll follow the same format for this recording. So to begin with, here's my balance range, which is 17,888 all the way to 18,123. Now this is what I call an anchor balance range, something that members over at Discord already had access to. I'm sure for some of you who are watching this clip, being my followers on Twitter, this is something new to y'all. But again, this is a range that will be useful to you not only for this upcoming week, but even for the rest of March, because any acceptance above means you got to apply balance rules, plain trading for the breakout, and vice versa if at all there is a look above and fail or a breakdown of balance. So that's the core structure that really guided our session on Friday. Now, before I get on to Friday, I'll just quickly review the clues that were available to us. And that is, the first clue was available to us on 7th Feb. That is, the session ended in a P-shaped profile. Now, why is P-shaped very significant? Because it helps us understand two major elements. The first is that this was a short covering rally which later resulted in a back and forth between buyers and sellers, and thus this formed like a P-shaped profile right here. Now, what does P-shaped profile denote to us? As long as acceptance is found above the P-shaped profile, we can expect the squeeze to continue, something that exactly happened on the 8th, that followed through into 9th, and literally into midday on the 12th before a reversal followed. So what we knew is that a squeeze could continue on acceptance above, and this acceptance above wasn't only above P, but also it took NQ inside this balance range, which again, as per balance rules, meant that a rotation to the halfback, and all the way to the top would occur. Now, what's important is that apart from this P, what we also did is we merged the profile of Friday and Monday to derive the value areas. Now, why did we merge this profile? Very simple, because the ranges were pretty similar, and this was a failed breakout above Friday's high. Now, had this been an breakout which was accepted, we wouldn't have really merged it, but given it was a failed breakout and still ended within Friday's range, merging gave us that clarity we were looking for. So as you can observe, the value area low was 17,952 and value area high at 18,070. Now again, the edges of this balance have been beautiful. The breakdown right here almost back tested before flushing. Now observe, this is just not back testing the balance edge, but also it took NQ below the P-shaped profile, which resulted in a liquidation break of sorts. So that's how 17,783s have been an important level to us broadly. And if I just stretch this level across, let me change the color quickly to white. You can again observe how these edges have been useful. Yes, there's been a little bit of back and forth here, but again, clean wicks enabling back tests again here, enabling us to participate in these moves. Again, the acceptance back above post the earnings. Anyhow, so now that we have this P we've got the value areas from the merged profile, and we've got the anchor balance with us. Now let's move on to what we have on Thursday, uh, Thursday and Friday to navigate the session successfully. Now, before I just quickly jump onto this, for folks who are interested to learn more about the P-shape profile, the character, the essence of it, I've actually written a post on Substack covering the basics of P-shape, defined it for y'all, even have explained it along with certain examples in ES. So if you're interested, you will find this post on Substack. So moving back, it was pretty clear to us and evident that on Thursday, where ES was, and again, if you've watched my past videos, I've focused on how important the Asia EU lows have been. So let's again just observe this. Asia formed the low, EU was a higher low, and then pre-market and RTH another higher low, and this time at the edge of the balance. So by default, what we know, the bullish structure is intact. We are at the edges of the balance, which means we want to be long. The only time we may want to consider short would be at the break of this balance. Now again, I recognize not everyone would be having this anchor balance, but anyhow, like I said, this would be useful for weeks to come. So right here you found acceptance. Again, standard balance rules. Acceptance results in rotation to the halfback and halfback to almost the balance stop. Now, as you can observe here, we found textbook acceptance back inside the value area low of the merged profile from 9th and 12th Feb. So intraday on Thursday, that was your clue where we first initially found rejection. But again, that reversal, that rejection meant nothing until it did not break the bottom of the balance, which it did not, as you can observe here, which meant buyers still were holding control, and ultimately post London close, buyers continued the leg higher right into the top of the value area high of the merge profile. Another textbook reversal followed through. Again, these are just reversals that we're focusing on. Nothing has really changed. So even if you're fading or finding acceptance, you've got to manage your risk accordingly. Because we're still within this balance, that means there's no structural shift that has happened resulting in extreme bullish or bearish opinions or bias. So here we are. You had the edges of the balance giving you a nice little entry there. You had the merged profile value area low as well as high, giving you decent opportunities on Thursday. Same things coming back, coming to Friday. We had that initial pump, and guess where? Right to the top of the balance. By default, what do balance rules suggest? Top of the balance is resistance, bottom is support. The only other time you want to think otherwise is when there's a breakout of balance, a successful backtest, whether on 15 minutes or you're observing 1 or 2 periods of 30 minutes, is where you find that sustained acceptance, and there you go long, because then it is a balance breakout long. Similarly to the downside, there's a breakdown, backtest, again you're observing for either a 15 minutes or 30 minutes, a single or 2 periods that close below, allowing you to trade the breakdown. So what we see on Friday, first up, a nice little excess that forms right at the top of the balance. This was already our resistance. I have posted the trade we took on Twitter already, so you can definitely validate this. But anyhow, this was resistance for us, top of the balance. Textbook rejection, follow through, right down where? To value area low. Now observe, okay? Now let's go step by step here. Rejects, you are short. What validates your short? Start thinking. While the invalidation of your short is very clear, that's your stop loss. Now I don't know how everyone trades, but in my room, our standard is about 30 points in NQ. So that definitely did not trigger. Nice little excess. Follow through. Now what validates my short idea? We want to see a push through the value area high of the merged profile. Now, why am I looking back again and again to this merged profile? Because this is the only MGI reference that is available to us when we were inside this balance the last time. So this is a very, very important value area that we've been tracking. So back again on Friday, that's the only MGI that I would like to track from the past. Now, what do we see here? Flush through below value area high and typically started liquidating all the way down to value area low. Now, this value area low doesn't mean it's an automatic long. How do we know that we can actually take a long at this value area low? Again, you're going to use the MGI that was generated on Friday. That is the IB extension. Now, typically, intraday moves tend to exhaust when you observe a 100% IB extension. Now, again, there has to be certain confluences present. In this case, the 100% IB extension at 17,944 lined up very well with the value area low of the merged profile, enabling you to take the long. Now, the long here is a pretty good risk reward. Now, there's a reason for it. Because this is where we also on Thursday, buyers picked it up to rotate higher, which meant that you've got a degree of demand there. At the same time, you've got the value area low of the merged profile, and then you've got 100% extension of the IB period down to 17,944. So in this 10-point range of 944 and 954, you had a good opportunity to go long. Now, you went long, you got your trade, again, the same thing. You don't want to make the mistake. Let's say you missed this long for whatever reason you did. Now, typically a lot of traders seek to chase. Now, when you're chasing a trade, you're going to ask yourself, am I going long into resistance? Or vice versa, not in this case, but any other day, am I going short into support? In this case, if you miss this 944, 954, for which we had tons of confluence already discussed, you were then going long. If you tried to join this rally late, then you were literally going long into the value area high, which by definition is a form of resistance. And again, you've got the balance stop right there. So here's your learning, guys. I spoke about the P-shaped profile, how I used that as a clue, because this top of P-shaped, again, if I just pull this to my right, you can observe how the top of the P-shaped profile was defended on Thursday as well, which resulted in a squeeze. Like I said, what's the character of P? Understand the essence, and even 2 weeks out, 10 days out, that same P-shaped profile will continue to be of importance to you. Now again, like I said, this P-shaped profile is important because it was at the edge of my anchor balance, which implied to me that yes, it was important. Had this P-shape been somewhere in the middle of this balance, I definitely would have been hesitant. Anyhow, like I said, where it is positioned, developed is also very important. So on Thursday, we had very clear clues: Asia, EU. This is just me recapping it for you. Asia, EU, USPM, pre-market, US RTH, above P-shaped profile. It's bullish, it is long, it is also holding the balance bottom. You've got to look for longs and again apply those balance rules for a clean rotation up. In the interim, you've got the merge profile, value area lows and highs to guide you, which happened on Thursday. On Friday, it was about the balance stop. It was marked as my resistance, followed through, held below value area high of the merge profile and rotated lower. Early in the day, again, we are not expecting any breakdowns on Friday, guys. Very simple. It's a bullish structure. At best, Friday would be any sort of look above or a consolidation, which it turned out to be. And the reason is that typically bullish markets, they may break out. Post breakout, you often see consolidation take place. So nothing unusual. There was no reason for you to really expect a breakout again on Friday, especially not after a 700-point rally. So the magnitude of this rally also made breakout an unlikely event for Friday. So what we were all watching is either a look above or a rejection at the balance stop. Again, balance rules guided you literally to words almost the bottom, not really the bottom, but about there. And now for next week, again, we will have the same value areas and the edges of the balance along with this B-shaped to guide the rest of our week. I hope this was helpful and you guys learned how to apply the P-shaped profile, how to think of these balance ranges that I've shared, how to apply balance rules, and also why I merged the profile of 9th Feb as well as 12th Feb. So there's a reason there, there's a nuance there. If you've understood, then again, it's going to help you at some point in the future. And how on Friday, once again, why we thought a breakout would be unlikely, and how we used the merged profile value areas along with MGI, which is the 100% IB extension, to engage in actionable trades. So that's all from me. I wish you all a good week ahead. Take care. Until next time. Bye-bye.